So, hello navigators, welcome to the webinar on Phygital, which is where the physical and digital worlds intersect in the tourism market. So, in the words of Olivia Newton-John, let's get Phygital. So first of all, what is Phygital? Well, it's really just the combining of the best of the physical and digital assets you own. And it's very common to be seen as a gap in customer experience. So the best example I can give you is, when you want to get in contact with someone like Telstra, they've really made it difficult for you to connect to a voice. And there's only very limited tools available for you to connect to them. So that's a very frustrating gap in customer experience. So the best way to measure whether or not your Phygital strategy is going to work is, does it create an instant opportunity for your visitors to talk to you? Does it allow them to be connected to you, your brand and your experiences? And is it engaging, or is it a chore with lots of friction in order to engage with you? So the whole point of all this is, why is Phygital important? And that is because the trend is 63% of purchases are now online. So you really need to start thinking about how you're going to make your presence count. So this is just a little bit more research about how really the whole purchasing behaviour in the tourism industry is going online. And if you look at the customer value journey, so we've got 85% of people who are going to buy a tourism product are doing their research on their mobile. That's then followed by 57% of them actually following through and executing a purchase on e-commerce. So you can see it's a really strong trend that's going to only continue to accelerate. So back to Phygital. So the evidence shows that if you want to improve your customer experience, and in fact, an improved customer experience, it enables you to differentiate your tourism product and services that delivers increased visitor participation and visitation. So that's a mouthful. So let's break that down and understand a little bit more about what it all means and how you can leverage it to drive your visitors. So first of all, this is a really cute meme of a gap in the customer experience. So you've got this great big kiosk here with a map on it, but from a consumer point of view, as soon as you leave the physical location of that sign, they experience a gap in the instant, connected and engaging communication they have available from you. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of what the gap looks like in tourism. So enough about tourism for a second. Let's look at over 90% of customers in other industries are using mobile apps as a customer experience channel. So if you think about that in the tourism world, they're really lagging in the adoption of digital tools. Okay, so we're going to revert back now to what physical assets you might have and how they can be leveraged into the digital world to increase the instant connection you can have with your visitors. So physical assets are things like your visitor centre, signage, possibly family and friend referral, and that kind of thing. But consumers are now, as you probably know, looking for more ways to interact with your physical product. So what you need to do is think about how you're going to integrate those physical products into the digital world to create interactive opportunities. So we know that visitors and consumers are demanding a way more personalised experience. So we know that if you do provide a more personalised experience, you will get better customer conversion. Okay, so Data privacy is a really big issue today. There are lots of customers that feel that their data is harvested and used with really poor personalisation outcomes or spooky personalised outcomes. So we do know that if you have an open conversation with a consumer that says, if you let us have access to your data, we will provide you with a more personalised shopping experience. So by creating digital assets, you're really stepping into that opportunity that will allow you to collect your own customer experience data, which allows you to analyse, identify, and implement new products and services to sell. Okay, so one of the things that you have today is your ability to understand and analyse what your customers are doing. And I guess a really good example of how this might work out is in the physical signage and wayfinding space. So if you think about a customer's journey from their initial research of whether or not they're going to engage in a tourism experience with you, all the way to their attendance at your location, currently you only have partial visibility of how they're behaving and what they're doing and what their frustrations may be on that journey. So first of all, they'll probably experience what we call the Google Map Gap, which is when Google tells you you have arrived, when in fact you look around and you think, no, I haven't, and I don't know where I'm going. The second gap can exist around signage. Signage is very static. It can become out of date. It's not available to be easily updated for road changes or event changes that demand a change in it. Paper maps, well, what can I say? It's very old school. And of course, you do have your website and emails, but again, that's a one-to-one handshake. It's not an ongoing, connected, engaging experience. It's sort of like a broadcast as opposed to a conversation mechanism. So you can see you've really only got parts of insight into your customer experience. So what you need to do is look at how are you going to understand your customer visitor journey and provide a more engaging conversation that converts to improved visitation and participation. So what if I was to tell you that digital wayfinding maps is a really nice example of how Phygital can work from you? And all it is, it's taking physical assets and turning them into a digital asset that provides what we call ICE, which is instantaneous connectedness and engaging communications with your visitors. So hang on for more. So we know that 75% of all people that use a mobile phone actually do use a digital map. So if you think about that, 24 million Australians use digital maps or navigation apps. So this is a great habit that you can differentiate into and get access in an instant way to your potential customers. When you do connect to your customers, you can start collecting much more information about what they're doing and where they're going. So if we use this as you'll be familiar with this, a customer value journey. And really what I'm trying to show you just very quickly is how you can publish a digital map as what we call a lead magnet, which is an asset in the digital world that allows you to connect with really accurate, timely information 24/7 to your customers and sell them stuff or convert them into engaging with your brand and experiences. So I'll send the slides out and you can have a look in more detail. But essentially, this whole customer value journey allows you to create customer experience data that allows you to target your audience more effectively and create better experiences. So some really good examples of people who've implemented a digital map as a lead magnet in what you call your customer value journey are large precincts like Sydney Olympic Park, Perth Botanic Garden and surrounds, local government areas and events. So as we said, when you publish unique information like a digital map, you engage in a partnership with your customers that enables the exchange of data, and that gives you that end-to-end customer value journey together with their customer experience data. So that gives you a better understanding of how their experience is going, how well you're converting them into your sales funnel, which of course then leads to a growth in your visitor participation and visitation. So if you go back to these slides, what this information tells you is not only traditional web analytics data, but that is extended to improve what Google Maps calls location data. And it lets you track what people look at in your map. So what spaces and places and events they're looking at, what spaces, places and events they decide to get directions to. And when those visitors follow those directions and actually visit those places, it measures how long they spend there and what else is around them. So if we go back to our case study, what we found with Sydney Olympic Park is that during the Sydney School Spectacular, which is a high school performing arts event, between 55 and 65,000 kids were hanging out in dead space between what's used to be called Australian Stadium and the McDonald's hole-in-the-wall retail location. So there's this huge dead concrete area that the park could have monetised through either a pop-up activation, or they could improve the experience with seating and shade. It really gives you insight into what's going on in your location and what opportunities you've got to improve it. Similarly, with Perth Botanic Garden, their top line of revenue contribution is in the hire of venues inside the park. So the goal of their digital map was to provide high levels of information and attribute searchability of those higher venues. So an example of that would be if I'm looking at the Perth Botanic Garden map and I want to select potential venues to hire, I can ask the map to tell me which venues are suitable for my grandma who's in a wheelchair. So what venues are accessible. Then I can get it to tell me what venues are near playgrounds, because my sister's had 4 children that are all under 12, and whether or not it's got shade and that kind of thing. So by providing all that consumer information in the one location in a digital map, together with a link to the availability of that venue at a particular point in time and the ability to book it right then and there, you've eliminated all that friction of moving between websites and ringing the helpline. You've really made it easy for someone to book an event, and they in turn have seen an increase in their higher venue revenue. If you'd like to learn more about our case studies, just drop us a message and we'll send you some more information. Okay, so Phygital best practice allows you to create really exquisite visitor experiences. So the best way to sort of think about how you might go about doing that is, first of all, identify what visitors you're targeting and what do they look like. So it's very traditional target customer profiles. Then what you do is you go through your destination or event and you list all the points of interest that you want your visitors to go to and who would benefit from visiting them, like families with kids, grey nomads, etc. You do the same thing for your routes and include accessibility. Then you publish in your map and start collecting all your customer experience data. So you can see that you've probably got a lot of those pieces of information inside your organisation. You'll have the GIS data, you'll have all your marketing profile information. It's just a matter of putting them all together in one channel, which is a digital map. So Phygital allows you, as you can see, to see, hear and talk to your customers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as they experience your place, space or event either in the digital world or the physical. And that in turn allows you to unlock the power of people data and improve visitor participation and visitation. So how would you get started if you wanted to improve your customer experience? You can book a demo. You can do that from our website, or you can email me, Caroline at Navies, with any questions you might have. So we'd love to see you in the Navies community. Don't forget to follow the Navies LinkedIn page.